Hello everyone, my name is Chojnacki. I'm a developer at Exov Estonia. I mostly do backend work, but also doing front-end from time to time. And today I'm going to talk about different techniques for creating landing pages in Drupal 8. Before we get to the business, I would like to thank our sponsors for time and money spent to organize such a great event. I guess that's quite hard work, but it pays off. All right, so let's start with the question: what is actually a landing page? In marketing terms, a landing page is a single page on a website with one single particular target audience. It's a page with particular target audience, emphasized call to actions. Ideally, there should be only one single call to action on the landing page, which leads to the conversion, but that's already like a different topic. It has a custom layout and pretty complex internal structure, and it has personalized blocks to target this specific audience. An example of landing page could be front page, some campaign page, or even a product page. There are many sections on the landing page, and each describes a feature which a person might find useful. This is made so to cover as wide audience as possible. There are many ways to build a layout in Drupal, starting from the most fundamental and the way which Drupal gives us by default. It's using regions and blocks, to more advanced, using modules like panels, paragraphs, display suite, and so on. Unfortunately, there is no unified solution which will fit any project. They all have its own advantages and limitations. When we are talking about landing pages, or actually about any layout in Drupal, it all should start with the planning. And the planning phase should rely on certain requirements project has, and it could be possibility to create multiple landing pages. In other projects, it might be enough just to have one single landing page, and other pages follow the similar structure. There might be possibility to easily change the layout in the admin interface. It should be clear, even for a person with no technical background and minimum Drupal experience, how to modify the layout. Every layout has its own limitations, and well, if there is an admin interface which allows content editors to modify the layout, it's a developer's role to provide like a stable interface which won't break the page regardless of any actions done in this admin interface. It could be achieved by adding a certain limitations to the UI. For example, if according to design, a section could have like maximum 3 columns, it shouldn't be possible to add more. Otherwise, the page might look ugly or it might, well, totally break. Another common issue is that the long text just doesn't fit the certain area on the site. It's really common, but this problem can be eliminated by just adding the input character limit. The content could be curated by human or aggregated by Drupal. Reusable elements. It might be so that project requires some elements to be reusable. It might be even the whole sections could be reusable on other landing pages or elsewhere on the site. Let's check this wireframe. We often see designs that look kind of like this. It's one column layout without any sidebars. It's like you get a project, you get a new design, and it looks like your previous project. Like most of the pages, it has a header, footer, and content areas. The content area is also divided into sections. Here on the slide, sections are highlighted with the green color. If you are using like a grid system in your theme, then you most probably will have columns, and then columns contain a content. It could be just a simple text, a video, some lift-ups, or listings like views. So how do we build all this in Drupal? One option could be a paragraphs module. A few years ago, paragraphs module started to become prominent. Now it's incredibly popular among site builders. I'm pretty sure that it's part of your toolkit. Paragraphs is a module which allows to create structured pieces of content. Paragraph is an entity. It's just like a node which belongs to a certain paragraph type. It allows content editors to choose from predefined and styled list of paragraph types. Content editor can reorder them how he likes. Some examples what could be done with paragraphs: accordion, tabs, galleries, slideshow, or just a block of simple text. It can be used if you want to add a block with an image on site, or if you want to add an accordion between blocks of text. It looks pretty much like building a content type. So you're probably familiar with the UI. You can add fields, manage display, and so on. There are many different techniques to build landing pages and websites using paragraphs. We experimented with those a lot, and I would like to share with you the base which worked well for some of our projects. So remember this slide with sections highlighted with the green color and columns highlighted with the blue one. So with paragraphs, you can not only build elements like text block, video, accordion, and so on, but you can also build a base which will allow content editor to create landing pages with flexible layout. So for that, I created several paragraph types, section and column. There's also section 2 columns and column 2, but I will explain a bit later why those are separated. So on this slide, on the left side, you can see that there is 2 column section paragraph and its fields. It has a reference field to column paragraph type. It also has fields like section name, background color, and column style content editor can choose from. Column style basically means the width of a columns within the particular section. Column paragraph type has just only one field, which is a reference to other types, such as simple text, image, video, but there could be actually much more. This is how it looks all together on the Node Edit page. I've used field group modules in order to collapse some fields. Otherwise, this page might be too long and difficult to administrate. There is a section name field there, which is actually not displayed on the front end, but used by content editors to quickly understand what this section is all about. So why we have section and section 2 column paragraph types? Why not just to combine them all together into one? The thing is that every section type has its own like parameters and limitations. For example, like here, the section 2 columns has a column style option 50 to 50%, meaning option for 2 columns, and it won't be already valid for 3 column section. It's also not possible here to add more than 2 columns, so it won't break the layout. You still have to modify templates a bit and apply some CSS. I won't go through the code in details right now. You can check it later. But as you can see, the amount of code is really tiny. On the left, there is a source code, which is using mixins to define rows and column sizes. By the way, this is Foundation framework and their mixins. On the right side, there is a generated HTML markup from Twig template. It requires just a few changes to default paragraph template, mostly adding classes here, depending on selected values on the backend. For example, the background color class and column style class. At the end, we get a page which looks kind of like this. This solution is not constrained to any specific layout. Editors can choose by themselves what would be the layout for the particular landing page. In this example, there is mainly text in columns. However, it can be pretty much whatever your project requires. You just need to create more paragraph types. Good things about paragraphs, it's incredibly flexible, especially for making nested levels of content and layout. Entity reference revisions module comes as a requirement for and dependency of paragraphs, so it's revision friendly out of the box. It has a large support of the community, but paragraphs are not reusable. Well, you can use them, reuse them if you try like hard, but in general that's really bad practice. Field translations is only supported with additional module called paragraphs asymmetric translation widget. The maintainer of paragraph decided that asymmetric translations is not the priority right now, so maybe they will come later into the paragraphs project, but for now you have to install a new module. And to be honest, paragraphs is pretty bad name because we already have two things called paragraph in the system. It's an HTML element and the unit of text. So if client will see the name somewhere, that might be confusing for them for the first time. There is another solution. It's using Entity Construction Kit, also known as ECK, with inline entity form modules. Entity Construction Kit is a module which provides a user interface to manage entity types, bundles, and entities. With Entity Construction Kit, it's possible to build landing pages in the similar way as it was with paragraphs. Since ECK allows to create different entity types, I think it's a good idea to separate the layout and the content. In the layout entity type, there are two bundles, section and column, and partial entity type has bundles which are used as column content. So this is how it looks on the Node Edit page. Entity Construction Kit doesn't come with its own field widget, but it's common to pair it with inline entity form. You can create a new content and add an existing content, what means that entities are reusable. The good things is that it's flexible as well. Entities are reusable. The bad news is that it doesn't come with revision support out of the box just yet. There's some work going on Drupal.org towards this direction, but yeah, well, currently it's not revision friendly. When you remove a parent entity, it won't remove the child entities. What might cause a lot of unused entities sitting there in your database. The next one is Display Suite. Display Suite is a module which extends the display options for every entity type. It's really seamless with the whole Drupal interface. You can add custom layouts in your theme or module, and also you can create custom fields. Last time I checked, it supported adding a block field and a token field. It's fairly simple to register a layout. You basically just create a YAML file in your theme or module. This is an example how this YAML file looks like. There's a path to the template, some regions like top, sidebar left, sidebar right, and bottom. And then when you manage your display of a content type, or actually of any entity type, you can select a display. After you selected it, you can simply drag and drop the fields to the certain regions. Well, the good things is that it has a familiar UI. You can define your own layouts in your theme or module. Another cool thing you can do, you can create block fields. So instead of just having those fields which are in your content type, you can place a block directly to your content. It's also possible to switch a view mode used for a particular entity full page. However, for this purpose, you need to install an additional module, Display Suite Switch View Mode. It's in the Display Suite project. The bad things is that you can only have one single layout for all entities of the same type and display. Also, it's quite difficult to extend this module. If you would like to have like a new section on the landing page, you basically need to create more fields, and the more you add more and more fields, the harder it gets for the content editor to edit this page, and for the developers it's harder to maintain it. Field layout. Starting from Drupal version 8.5, there's a new module in Drupal core called Field Layout. The concept of this module is quite similar to Display Suite. However, it's still experimental module. It doesn't have that much functionality yet. So you can select a layout for a view mode and drag and drop fields to the regions. Very basic. It doesn't like have all those bells and whistles that Display Suite has, like adding custom fields. However, it has one feature which differs it from other modules. It's possible to select a layout for a form. In some cases, this might be useful, especially if if your users are able to manage entities and you want to give them a better looking forms with layout you define. The good things is that it's in Drupal core, so it will definitely get a proper support. On the other side, it's still experimental and not recommended to use on production. It has a familiar UI and possibility to create custom layouts. However, it still has the same disadvantages as display suite has. Like extending it means that adding more and more fields, and also you can have only one layout for all entities of the same type and display. And finally, we have panels and layout builder. Layout builder is an experimental module in Drupal core starting from version 8.5. The concept of layout builder, it's pretty much, the concept is pretty much the same as for panels, so that's why I put them together into like one section on the slides. Some people hate panels, some people love them. Well, however, it's a very old module. The panels history starts from Drupal version 4. In Drupal 8, panels is an API, meaning that in order to use panels, you need to use the implementing module, and currently Page Manager and Panelizer implement panels. It's a big module. You can create pages with Page Manager. You can add or remove permissions for particular user roles to see or see particular page. You can create different variations for one page, and based on certain selection criteria, display those variations. It has a system of context and in-place editor, which comes with actually separate module, panels IPE. But yeah, that's quite handy for content editors. You can register a custom layout by creating a YAML file just like it was with display suite. They both are using the layout plugin, and well, actually the panels, display suite, or layout builder, they all are using the same layout YAML file. It might differ a bit, but the structure is still similar. The good things about panels, it's a powerful module. It's it's more simplified comparing to Drupal 7 version of panels where you had all those widgets. The bad thing, it's still pretty hard. It still takes time to learn. Um, I would say that panels is more of a developer's tool rather than the content editor's tool. You don't really want to allow your clients to use that, or it just needs a proper like training. It currently only supports adding blocks. Even fields are added to regions as blocks. Well, even those blocks have a global scope, and all those blocks are living there in your blocks library. And you may have like hundreds of these blocks on the site. It's actually quite hard for a content editor to understand what are all those blocks are, then find them and place the correct block on the page. The editor experience is not so good because it's simply hard to manage that many blocks. There are much more solutions to build landing pages than I mentioned, but those should be based on the specific requirements project has and the budget project has. The second one might be even more important in some cases, and quite many times it's like even more important than the requirements. There is a bricks block, which is pretty cool as well. There are two options to use it together with paragraphs module or together with ECK. It has a better UI. Yeah, well, if you like, you can also check this out. If you have like troubles to choose the right solution, think about those. First of all, focus on what your client actually requires instead of messing up with Drupal. And think about possibility how you can extend your solution further if there will be demand, instead of looking at layout, design layout, and implementing it how it is in the design. And last but not least, it all should start with the proper planning and properly testing your solution. Okay, well, basically that's all I have. Do you have any questions? Yes, please. Well, not like a favorite, but maybe the solution what works and which we implemented in several like projects was the paragraphs. We tested this solution with a group of content editors, maybe 30 people per project. They didn't have any Drupal experience before, and they are not technical. And after 30 minutes training, they were able to do that, modify the landing pages, or even create them by themselves. Anyone else?
Thank you, Jan.
Is that it? Yeah. Thank you.